Hello, my name is Dr. Caroline Hook, and I'm a UK doctor working with GP Education Myanmar. Today, I'm going to show you the 14 Fish website. This is a website that we use in the UK, but it is also used globally to record CME, we call it CPD, and to make so that others can see that we're continuing to learn and develop as doctors. It's like an online portfolio that you can show other people what you've been up to. Very basically, this is the page. So if you type in 14fish.com, you will get here. The next thing to do is to register. So if you click register now, it's fairly easy to register. The only thing that I have found complicated here is that when you click on profession, you would normally put in GP or doctor, but I found that it then asks you for your GMC number, which if you're not a doctor working in the UK, you might not have. The way to get round this is to put other non-clinical, and then you can fill in your details and register. When you've done that, you can then get into your account. So I will very quickly log into my account. And then you get to, when you've made a page, you get to this page. So I'll start by going through things along the top and showing you the very basic bits. But actually, there's only one bit of this website that will be, I think, really useful for GPs working in Myanmar. So here you start. This is a summary of everything that's been going on. And you can also, so it will give you updates along here, and you can record your CPD, which is the same as CME here. And if you click on that, you get taken to this page where you would make an entry. So, for example, if you have attended a webinar, you can then say that you have, you can make some notes about what you thought was interesting and what you learned here and here. And then you can reflect about the webinar, which is thinking about how it might change your practice or how it's made you see things differently, and thinking about how you will move forward from that learning event. Going next to the portfolio section, this is where you would enter your job. So when you first open this page, it will say up here, by scope of work, it will say the same as it does here. Click here to complete. So it will ask you to make a role. And you can make a role a bit like I have, where you say you're a GP, you're clinical, you work so many hours a week, and which organisation you're with. This is just so that you have a role that you can link your education to. So if we go back to the portfolio section, the next bit here is PDP, and that stands for Professional Development Plan. So this is the section which you can use to make a plan for what you want to learn in the next 6 months. So to complete this, you click here, and then you can add a PDP. So I'd choose my GP role, and I'd say, for example, learn about dermatology in children. That's a good PDP because it's broad and achievable. And then I'd make some plans. So I say, for example, I would complete learning module or watch a webinar. So if you put then some specific things that you're going to do to achieve that PDP, then that's a good approach. And then you set yourself a target date for when you're going to have done it, and then a way that you're going to demonstrate that you have done it. So that could be a certificate, or it could be a little summary of what you learned from it. Just something that gives evidence that you were there. So I just go back to the portfolio page. The next bits, you don't have to fill in, but they're there if they're helpful. They just ask you some questions and then think about things outside of work potentially that might be influencing your work. And then this is a way of getting feedback from other people, which may not be useful in Myanmar. And then there's a whole load of other bits there, but you don't need to fill those in. They're not needed for the way that you would be using this portfolio. The next bit is education. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff here is behind a paywall. So you have to have a subscription and pay to use 14 Fish. But there are some free modules. So there's a few here at the top that you can see that are free that you can watch. But then there's lots more here, which also would be useful, but you can't access unless you pay. The next 3 sections, you don't need to worry about at this point. So to quickly summarize, 14 Fish is a platform to use to record your learning and to show other people what you're doing to keep up to date. It's an online portfolio where you can make a plan about what you're going to learn in the next 6 months and then record what you've done to make sure that you're achieving those goals. It's also a great place to reflect on what you're learning, why things might be difficult at work, or what you're wanting to achieve, and make a plan about how you're going to go forwards. That's all from me today now, but if you have any questions, just contact the GP Myanmar team and I'm sure that they can pass those on to me and I can help.